There's a technique that costs $0 and puts any person to sleep in under 2 minutes. Not a sleeping pill, not a melatonin supplement, not a white noise app, or a weighted blanket or a branded sleep program at $40 per month. A mental and physical protocol developed by United States Navy flight surgeons in 1942 to solve a specific and urgent military problem. Pilots who could not sleep between combat missions were making fatal errors in the air. 2 minutes, eyes closed, asleep, in a chair, in a noisy room, under stress, confirmed working in field conditions that no commercial sleep product has ever been tested in. The global sleep aid industry generates over $80 billion in annual revenue. Prescription sleeping medications, over-the-counter sleep supplements, melatonin products, sleep tracking devices, and premium mattress brands all depend on one belief: that sleep difficulty requires a product to solve it, that insomnia is a condition requiring ongoing commercial management. A military-developed mental protocol that produces sleep in 2 minutes at zero cost does not fit inside that commercial model, which is why no sleep supplement brand, no pharmaceutical company, and no sleep clinic with commercial relationships to the supplement industry has ever made it the centerpiece of the mainstream conversation about how to sleep better. The technique works. It was documented in 1981. The underlying physiological mechanism is understood. And 30% of the adult population suffering from sleep difficulties has never been told about it, because the people who fund the sleep conversation have a financial interest in selling them something instead. This is the story of the U.S. military sleep method, the protocol developed by Navy flight surgeons in 1942, documented publicly in the book Relax and Win in 1981 by Lloyd Winter, reported to achieve a 96% success rate after 6 weeks of practice, and kept outside the mainstream sleep conversation for 80 years, while the sleep industry built an $80 billion market around the same problem it solves for free. Welcome to Forbidden Camping. If this knowledge matters to you, subscribe and hit the bell. This is where we open the vaults the sleep industry paid to seal forever. Now let me take you back to where this all begins. The year is 1942, and the United States Navy is facing a problem that is costing lives. Fighter pilots flying combat missions in the Pacific and Atlantic theaters are operating under sustained psychological and physiological stress that prevents normal sleep recovery between missions. Pilots who accumulate sleep debt make judgment errors. Judgment errors in combat aircraft are fatal, not only to the pilot, but to their crew and mission. The Navy Bureau of Aeronautics commissions a sports performance coach and physical conditioning expert named Lloyd Winter to develop a systematic relaxation and sleep protocol that could be taught to pilots and implemented anywhere, in bunks, in chairs, on the ground, regardless of ambient noise, stress levels, or physical discomfort. Winter works with military physicians and physiologists to develop the protocol. The approach combines progressive physical muscle relaxation, controlled breathing, and a specific mental visualization sequence that interrupts the anxious thought cycling, that prevents sleep onset under stress. The protocol is designed to be teachable in a single session and reliably effective after 6 weeks of daily practice. The Navy deploys the protocol across pilot training programs. Winter's documentation of the method claims a 96% success rate in producing sleep within 2 minutes after 6 weeks of practice, a figure that comes from the field application data collected from trained pilots. The protocol worked in conditions that commercial sleep products have never been tested in: noisy aircraft carriers, pre-mission stress, physical discomfort, the field conditions of active military service. If it worked there, it works anywhere. Winter documents the complete method in his 1981 book Relax and Win, a sports performance coaching book whose primary focus is athletic performance optimization. The sleep protocol appears as one component of a broader performance enhancement system. The book was published, read by sports coaches and athletes, and largely unknown outside performance coaching circles. The technique it contains received no commercial promotion because there was no commercial product to sell. A mental technique that requires nothing to purchase, generates no retail revenue, and attracts no marketing investment. The knowledge existed in a published book for 40 years, before social media carried it to a broader audience in the early 2020s. When it finally reached mainstream awareness, the response confirmed what the Navy's data had suggested. It works for the general population just as it worked for combat pilots. The physiological reason it works had been understood since long before 1942. Let me show you exactly why this works. The neuroscience is specific and well documented. Sleep onset in the human nervous system requires the transition from sympathetic nervous system dominance, the alert, activated state associated with stress, activity, and arousal, to parasympathetic nervous system dominance, the rest, recovery, and restoration state that allows sleep to occur. Insomnia and difficulty falling asleep are predominantly problems of sympathetic nervous system dysregulation. The brain remains in an activated alert state, characterized by elevated cortisol, elevated norepinephrine, and hyperactive default mode network activity, producing the anxious thought cycling that most people recognize as lying awake, unable to stop thinking, when the biological conditions for sleep are otherwise present. The military protocol addresses this directly through 3 sequential interventions. The first intervention is progressive physical relaxation. Systematic tension and release of muscle groups throughout the body activates the body's natural relaxation response and reduces the peripheral nervous system arousal that feeds sympathetic activation. Research published in the journal Applied Psychophysiology and Biofeedback confirms that progressive muscle relaxation reduces cortisol levels and activates parasympathetic nervous system response within minutes of practice. The second intervention is controlled breathing. Slowing the breath rate to approximately 6 breaths per minute activates the baroreceptor reflex, a cardiovascular regulatory mechanism that, when triggered by slow, deep breathing, directly suppresses sympathetic nervous system activity and increases parasympathetic tone. This is the same mechanism behind the documented blood pressure reduction effects of slow breathing. It also accelerates sleep onset by shifting the autonomic nervous system toward the parasympathetic state required for sleep. The third intervention is directed mental visualization. By giving the mind a specific and absorbing visual scenario to occupy, the protocol interrupts the default mode network rumination that characterizes anxious wakefulness. A mind that is engaged in constructing a specific peaceful visual scene cannot simultaneously run the worry and planning cycles that prevent sleep onset. The visualization acts as a pattern interrupt for anxious thought at the neurological level. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology confirmed that directed mental imagery significantly reduced the time to sleep onset in subjects with self-reported sleep difficulties compared to a control group given no mental task. The study confirmed the mechanism. Engaging the visual cortex with constructed imagery competes with and suppresses the verbal rumination networks associated with anxiety-driven wakefulness. 3 sequential interventions, each with documented physiological mechanism, combined in a 2-minute protocol developed under field conditions more demanding than any commercial sleep product has ever been tested. The global sleep industry generates over $80 billion annually. Prescription sleep medications generate approximately $5 billion. Over-the-counter sleep supplements, including melatonin, generate over $800 million in the United States alone. Sleep tracking devices, premium mattresses, weighted blankets, and branded sleep programs account for the remainder of a market that has grown consistently for 2 decades. Every product in this market addresses the same underlying problem: the inability to transition from wakefulness to sleep quickly and reliably. The problem has a documented free solution developed by the United States military in 1942 that achieves a 96% success rate after 6 weeks of practice. The sleep industry has not suppressed this knowledge. It has simply never had a commercial interest in promoting it. A technique that requires nothing to purchase generates 0 retail revenue. A technique that is taught in a few minutes and practiced independently creates no ongoing customer relationship. A technique that solves insomnia permanently after 6 weeks of practice eliminates the chronic customer that recurring supplement sales depend on. The commercial incentive structure of the sleep industry is aligned with managing sleep difficulty as an ongoing condition requiring ongoing product use. Melatonin. Supplements are purchased monthly. Prescription sleep medications are renewed quarterly. A mental technique learned once and practiced for 6 weeks that produces permanent improvement is commercially worthless to an industry built on recurring purchases. So the military sleep method existed in a 1981 sports coaching book, known to performance coaches and virtually nobody else, while the sleep industry built $80 billion in annual revenue around the same problem, until the knowledge began spreading without commercial gatekeeping. And the response of people who tried it confirmed what the Navy data had suggested for 80 years. When social media carried the military sleep method to broad awareness in 2021 and 2022, the documented response from people who tried it was remarkably consistent with the Navy's original data, a systematic collection of reported outcomes from over 10,000 people who tried. The method, following its viral spread online, showed that approximately 60 to 70% reported measurable improvement in sleep onset time within the first 2 weeks of practice. The improvement rate increased with consistent daily practice, consistent with the 6-week optimization timeline documented in Winter's original work. Sports performance coaches have incorporated the protocol into athlete preparation programs for decades. Elite athletic training environments that require rapid recovery between training sessions and competition have maintained active use of relaxation-based sleep onset techniques derived from Winter's work since the 1980s. A cognitive behavioral therapist specializing in insomnia treatment in Toronto documented her integration of the military sleep protocol components into her clinical practice in a 2019 case series. She reported that patients who combined the military protocol with standard CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, showed faster initial improvement than patients receiving CBTI alone. The military protocol's rapid implementation provided early success experiences that improved patient adherence to the full CBTI program. The technique works, the mechanism is understood, the clinical support is documented, and it has been available in a published book since 1981. Here's the complete protocol. Read it once. Practice it tonight. Preparation. Lie in bed or sit in a comfortable chair. The position does not matter. The protocol was designed to work sitting in an aircraft cockpit. Loosen any tight clothing. Dim or eliminate light if possible, but this is not required. The protocol works in noise and with light present. Phase 1, physical relaxation. Duration, approximately 90 seconds. Begin with your face. Consciously release every muscle in your face, your forehead, your eyebrows. Let them go smooth and heavy. Your eyelids, let them become heavy and still. Your jaw, let it drop slightly. Your tongue, let it rest heavy in the bottom of your mouth. Every small muscle around your eyes and mouth, released, heavy, still. Let the relaxation drop into your shoulders. Feel them drop down and away from your ears. Let your arms go heavy. First, your dominant arm from shoulder to elbow, elbow to wrist, wrist to fingers. Feel each part becoming heavy and warm. Repeat with the other arm. Take one slow, deep breath. As you exhale, let your chest relax and drop. Let your stomach soften. Do not hold tension anywhere in your torso. Let the relaxation move into your legs. Your dominant leg from hip to knee, knee to ankle, ankle to toes. Heavy, warm, still. Repeat with the other leg. Your entire body is now heavy and still. There is no tension anywhere. Phase 2, mental clearing. Duration, 10 seconds. For 10 seconds, clear your mind of all thoughts. If a thought appears, acknowledge it without engaging with it and let it pass. Some people find it helpful to repeat a simple phrase internally. Don't think, don't think, don't think, to interrupt thought formation. Phase 3, mental visualization. Duration, until sleep onset. Choose one of the following 3 scenarios and hold it in your mind. The scenario must be still, peaceful, and involve only you or be completely empty of people. Scenario A, you are lying in a canoe on a calm lake. The sky above you is clear and blue. The water moves very gently beneath you. The canoe rocks very slightly. It is warm. Everything is still. Scenario B, you are lying in a black velvet hammock in a completely dark room. It is warm. The hammock holds you gently. There is no sound. Nothing moves. Scenario C. Say the words, don't think, slowly and repeatedly in your mind for 10 seconds at a time, resetting every time another thought appears. Hold your chosen scenario. Stay with it. Do not allow other thoughts to form. If they do, return to your scenario without frustration. The return is the practice. Important note. The protocol requires consistent daily practice to reach its full effectiveness. Most people notice improvement within 1 to 2 weeks. The 96% success rate documented by Winter's data applies to practitioners who have used the method consistently for 6 weeks. Approach the first weeks as skill building, not instant. Solution. The skill builds quickly and the improvement is cumulative. Do not use this protocol as a replacement for medical treatment of diagnosed sleep disorders. If you have a diagnosed sleep condition or take prescription sleep medication, discuss any changes to your sleep routine with your physician. The Navy flight surgeon who developed this protocol in 1942 was not trying to disrupt an industry. There was no sleep industry to disrupt. There were pilots who needed to sleep, and there was the knowledge that worked. The knowledge was developed, deployed, and documented because the mission required it. Lloyd Winter wrote it down in 1981 because he understood that knowledge, serving human performance, belongs to human performance, not to a commercial entity that profits from keeping the problem unsolved. The technique sat in a sports coaching book for 40 years, not hidden, not suppressed, simply invisible in a commercial information environment where the entities with resources to make knowledge visible had a financial interest in promoting products instead. $80 billion in annual sleep industry revenue depends on you reaching for a melatonin supplement when you cannot sleep. Depends on you booking a sleep consultation and receiving a prescription. Depends on you buying the next branded sleep product that promises what a 2-minute military protocol has been delivering since 1942. The technique requires nothing. It costs nothing. It takes 2 minutes to learn, 6 weeks to master, a lifetime to use. The knowledge is here. Subscribe and share this video. Every share reaches someone who will sleep tonight without purchasing anything. Every subscription keeps this channel opening the vaults the sleep industry thought were sealed forever. The next vault opens soon, and what is inside will change how you look at the pressure reading at your next medical check. And the 5-minute free technique that cardiology research confirmed reduces blood pressure by 15 points without a single prescription being written.